Welcome to Jurassic Peak. Hello everybody and welcome back to Jurassic Peak, episode 6. Today we are continuing our building adventure. Oh, we have just come off the tail of the biggest episode of the series, episode 5, The Swamp. And that was quite a busy time, wasn't it? If you managed to watch the whole video, I give you my condolences. Because that would be enough to put one to sleep, I'm sure. But today we are going to be working on the lagoon. The lagoon is going to build off of the end of the swamp. So essentially you go through the swamp to get to the lagoon, which is going to be here in the basin or what have you, the ravine. And the visitor hub will have a commanding view. Now this area here is going to be quite the challenge to fit the lagoon in the way I want it to, but you are going to see by the end of the video how great it can look. Now the lagoon itself is sort of a limited, I suppose, design. I can't say I really love how small it is, although it's bigger than the aviary, I find. But just one lagoon piece alone, unless it's the smallest marine species, I think it's kind of small for them. So for most of our species today, we are going to be doing at least 2 lagoon pieces per enclosure, except for one enclosure, which will just be a single lagoon circle. Here I'm just flattening everything out. I want it to be perfect for our visitors and the dynamics of this area. What I want is, I'd like the lagoon to be sort of at different levels. So naturally we can't change the shape of the lagoon itself, but by placing down separate lagoons at different levels, we're able to sort of simulate that feeling. So that's what we're going to be working on today. It is an ambitious project for sure. I've never done anything like it, but you're gonna see it works out really well. So very quickly, we're already putting in our lagoon pieces. There, I've just put in a single lagoon circle. That is our only single circle lagoon. So all the other lagoons are going to be multi-part lagoons, multi-circles. But of course, we have to get the terrain sort of fitted around it. In comparison to the previous episode, episode 5, this episode is really easy to get everything situated. Episode 5, it wasn't necessarily a terraforming challenge, but it was definitely a challenge in terms of just size. Here, this is the one lagoon I did have trouble with. I edited it to make it look easy, but actually I had to sort of keep refitting it and keep trying in order to get it to fit just right. This area I have a plan for. Of course, it's not the most exciting area, but you will see what I do with this area here. I'm going to turn it into an observation platform. So from this platform area, you'll be able to look down into those bottom 2 lagoons. So that's going to be pretty cool. Of course, we have to repaint the ground, or texture it, I suppose would be a little bit of a softer word. To texture the ground. We don't paint grass, we plant grass, right? I'm trying to work around the natural environment here as much as I can to make it feel a little bit more natural and also to, well, make it easier. My plan for the lagoon is that the deeper you go, it's more of a deep water species of marine creature. So the highest lagoon here is going to be for surface dwelling marine species, and the lowest lagoon is going to be, well, I would say some very exciting species. It's also a matter of, well, I'm not entirely sure, I don't know much about marine dinosaurs, if they breathe air or not. I do believe they breathe air, and I do apologize if it sounds kind of ridiculous for me to be saying all this stuff, but I haven't done my research in terms of that, but I'm under the impression that they would breathe air. So the bottom lagoon is for species that don't breathe air, that breathe underwater, I should say. But you're gonna see how it goes. It's gonna be pretty cool. I'm quite proud of how this worked out. I'm actually proud of the whole park, but every episode I start with no plan, no idea of what I'm going to do, and by the end of the episode I am amazed by my own creativity, I suppose. Not to toot my own horn, but I am very happy with how it turns out. If I uploaded a video though of me actually building everything, it would probably be many, many hours long, because it'd be so boring of me just thinking and considering different things. I can't say it's the most interesting video in the world. But with proper editing and, well, a little bit of patience, I can at least make the video a little more natural. I do apologize if you hear the rain. It is raining a little bit outside, so if you hear that pitter-patter, hopefully it doesn't bother you too much. Now we're getting our path in. Again, I'm using a medium path to act as the main path, and the smaller paths act as the branching paths. I'm using the black path as the main path and the red path as the decorative path. I use the dirt paths, or the brown paths, only in the petting zoo area, as I call it. Of course, there's no real petting zoo in Jurassic World Evolution 2, but from what I gather, it looks like in Jurassic World Evolution 3, there at least the idea has been teased online, if not officially announced. I don't know if it's official or not, but that's pretty cool. Those are some of the things that I really want in Jurassic World Evolution 3, among other things, like a reptile house, an insectarium house, or whatever they're called, the bug house. Maybe like a little aquarium. I'd be okay with many marine species just being added to the lagoons, but there are some that are quite small and would be very interesting. And I do think Jurassic World Evolution it's really just a Jurassic Park game by name only. I would say, really, I don't care much about the movie aspects of the game. Not to say that they're not good, but I mainly just play in Sandbox mode to build dinosaur parks. And the game's really good as just to do that. So, what I'm trying to say is that not necessarily realism, but sticking to the movies is not necessary in this game. You know, the game's a dinosaur park builder first and a movie game second, you know. In my mind, at least. Some people, of course, will love the campaign. I beat the campaign. It was pretty easy, and then the chaos theory is pretty good. The challenge mode is, well, it's not my favorite. You do get some perks if you beat challenge mode, but I don't want to do that more than once. So the main path of this park goes essentially from the very bottom of the deepest lagoon to the very top of the mountain. It's really incredible. When we get there, you're going to be amazed. I'm telling you, this is the greatest park I've ever built in my life. And I don't know, it could be the greatest park I ever built for a long time. I don't want to sound like I've created my magnum opus so early, but this is going to be a really hard park to top. But I would say ambition is one of my main qualities. So I tend to be a little bit overly ambitious when it comes to, well, what would be the word? Goals to accomplish. I do set some pretty radical goals. I'm just working on the lagoon viewing stands. I wanted to do different stands for the top and the bottom. So the top stands have more like these sunshades. The bottom stands, because we're getting deeper in elevation, I wanted to change the feeling of the experience here. Of course, I have to fit everything in to this basin area, so I can't build everywhere because I can't just terraform whatever I want. I have to work within the parameters of the walls. But I do hope that you're enjoying the series. I do welcome you to like and comment and subscribe to the channel. Subscribing, of course, and liking does help the channel grow. Commenting is great that we can chat. I'm always able to chat in the comment section, so don't be a stranger. You can tell me what your favorite park building tips are, or dinosaurs. The music is so good in this game. During that last clip when those bassy booms were happening, I actually thought it was my neighbor thumping and like dropping something or slamming a door. It was so heavy. So I gotta give it to the music in this game. It's really good. Too good. So now we begin the long process of terraforming this area. It's not going to be too difficult, though, in this particular part of the park.
Asset transportation
I would say it's quite straightforward. But I do have a pretty cool idea, which you're going to really like. Now, I quite like the idea of revealing the sides of the lagoons here to really show the decrease in elevation. It'll give you a good feeling like you're really descending into the depths of the ocean. Now, I don't know if I told you or not previously. I do know that I said that I got the Biosyn and Malta expansions. Well, because it was on sale at the same time, I got the marine species pack as well, which is really cool. So I got a number of interesting marine species, and you know what that means is that I got these rocks here, these lagoon platforms. Now I'm putting 4 in, which I know is actually maybe a little bit too much for this size lagoon, which is saying something because this is 2 lagoons together. Even though I've never used them, you can kind of tell where the reptiles are going to get on and off, so I can angle them at least so that when people are watching, they can enjoy the show. And a few decorations, because this is supposed to be sort of like pretty close to the water. So I put some palm tree decorations, you know. One thing to note is that when I was doing the swamp, I also was trying to aim for that elevation change. And that is the main reason why I put the Spinosaurus and the Suchomimus at the bottom in a sandy enclosure, is to simulate that we're getting closer to the ocean itself. So we went from a sort of mountain river with my big 5 enclosure area to the swamp of my swamp area, and then with the Spinosaurus and the Suchomimus we got a lot more sand. And even with the, what's that one called here, the Tyrannosaurus, I was transitioning from swamp to sand, and then with Spinosaurus and Suchomimus it was fully sand. So that sort of represents the beach. And then from the beach we have this sort of area, which is almost what I would call the shallows. The marine species are able to get on and off the land here. So it is intentional. At least when I did that, it was intentional. I know I say I don't plan anything, but I did plan that. Now, decorations for the lagoon, they're not bad, especially since we got the coral and the kelp. It's not my favorite. Really, you can only put it closer to the middle, because if you put it too close to the sides, it looks pretty ugly from the aerial view. But it does add to it. I do hope that there's a little more we can do in the next game, Jurassic World Evolution 3. But it's not the worst set of decorations, it's just a little bit limited. It would be better if you could use a brush and cause some plants to grow down there, just the way that we do it on land. Now here I'm doing something, in my mind it's pretty cool. I decided that I would really try to emphasize the depth of the ocean, and I would paint the ground down here to be rock, or texture the ground to be like rock. And this would give guests a feeling that they're descending into the depths of the ocean. One thing I don't like is that this brush tends to leave this greenish mark when you're mixing, especially. So if you go over it with the other rock brush, it will get rid of that greenness that comes with the rock. It's sort of annoying, but you can just touch it up, and that grassy mix into that larger rock texture will go away. Now, one of the struggles that I did have with this area, this episode, this district, I suppose, of the park, is about this ground texture of dirt, this ground, texture. I wasn't quite sure if I really wanted the dirt mixed with rock, or how I wanted to do that. Did I want it to be rock with grass, and then dirt on top of the grass, and then path on top of the dirt? So you're going to see me probably struggle internally about that, but that is one thing that I was debating as I was making this area here. I don't use the rock brush too much, but I do sort of want to maintain some sort of rule when I'm using it. Like, do I want the larger rock texture here and the smaller, finer rock texture there? It's better if you just maintain that sort of feeling rather than just randomly doing it. It is one thing I'm looking forward to in Jurassic World Evolution 3, though, is a specific rock brush that is going to literally place rocks. That's going to be pretty cool. I'm not a fiend for rocks. I'm not addicted to placing rocks, mainly because I'm on console. All footage captured on PlayStation 5. So I'm on a system that's not made to be broken, you know. It's not like a high-end computer where you can really push it. I think for consoles, it's better to be safe than sorry for these sort of park building games where you can place down an infinite amount of objects. It does put pressure on the system. Which is another reason why I would say I'm actually very impressed by how well this park is turning out on PlayStation 5. Here I'm just continuing on, and I'm considering the dirt some more. I just don't know how I like it, at this point at least, but I'm giving it a try. It can be a bit difficult to know what is plant and what is grass texture, because you know, the plants can put down such a heavy greenness to the rock that you don't actually know, is it grass texture, or is it just plants, or is it both? I'm just fine-tuning the area here, trying to get it to look nice.
Green reptiles you see before you. Remarkable underwater realm with food chains and ecosystems.
So with just 2 rock textures, we're a bit limited by what we can accomplish, but with careful blending, I think you can get away with a lot. You can really make a little bit go a long way. And here you can see what I'm doing. I'm trying to get rid of that greenness to the rock. So now we're going up. I'm just trying to add a little bit of definition to these outcroppings of the rock wall, just to give it a little bit of shadowing, I suppose. Then when you're looking at it, you're going to be stimulated. So it's already looking pretty good. Here I'm just trying to get rid of that greenness. If you just touch it, just touch the button, it'll make the greenness go away. But it has to be the small rock brush. So here we are adding our first member of the lagoon area of the park. This is the Archelon.
When we think about the animals that have inhabited this planet the longest, it's normally the likes of crocodiles and sharks that spring to mind first. But Earth's prehistoric waters were also home to some mighty impressive turtle species, just like this one, the Archelon.
Now this is my first time even seeing this marine species, so I do want to just stare at its beauty and its magnificence. It's such an impressive creature. I should add that I'm now doing my voice recording with the video muted. My headphones ran out of battery, so I can't listen and record. I think that will affect the quality of my voice over. So here's 2 of them, very beautiful. The main thing about that is that I can't hear how they pronounce the dinosaur names currently, so I'm just going to say it how I feel like it. Here's a video. I wasn't sure if they were going to be able to get on the rocks with the placement and the spacing. I thought maybe if it's too tight, they won't want to get on. But this is just me proving that they can. I went with this lovely red and green shell pattern here. I think that looks great. Just the size of it is so wonderful. But I do think that Frontier did an amazing job with these designs. They look so good. And you get right up close and you see every little scale. Here's our next inhabitant. I am doing enclosure sharing in this park.
Transportation complete.
When they told me this thing has legs, I said, no, it's staying in the water. I don't want to be receiving reports of it running rampant in the sewers, showing up in elevators. Nothosaurus?
We have a
Not a chance.
here. This is another cool one, like a swimming lizard. I just had to put it in. I'm doing enclosure sharing because we just don't have the space to give everybody an enclosure, but I also want to have more than just 4 species, right? Especially since these ones are so interesting, I want them to share. So that's what they're gonna do. This thing's pretty cool too. I know I'm just staring at them a little bit longer today, but it's cool. So here they are showing that they can cohabitate with each other, but also I've seen them, and you will also see them later, where they're cohabitating on the same rock with both species together. Here you can see. So they get along just fine. You can see the Archelon is just gigantic compared to these guys. But now we are going to continue on. Unlike the previous video where I was building for, what was that, 2 hours and 10 minutes or something? And then the final 10 minutes I was putting the species in. Well, in this video I do want to do something different. I want to mix it up a bit. So, a bit of species, a bit of building. A bit of species, a bit of building. And then you won't get terribly bored. This area here is going to be a plaza. It's very close to our coffee shop that we built in the previous episode. So the idea is if you take your coffee to go, you can bring it down here and you can drink it on the water. Doesn't that sound cool? And we're going to, of course, put a fountain in, and a fountain with a palm tree. Is that what we go with here? This area is supposed to represent, essentially, land by the sea. So we still have some trees in the area. But as we get further down, I do want to change it. Now I do like this planter here. These are very beautiful flowers, so I think they're a great addition. And the most important thing is, what is it, a garbage can? Yeah, well that's important too. But I was gonna say seating. Seating is important too. Now what would be really cool is if they added seating next to the lagoon, where you're literally on the lagoon drinking your coffee. You know, instead of those palm tree planters on the side, we could do that where we have seating on the side with tables. Wouldn't that be neat? And then it has access to like on and off. You can get on and off through that seating area. That'd be pretty cool. That could be an idea for the next game. I do think, well, this game's pretty limited, I would say, in terms of what it has available, but it has a lot of excellent building blocks. You know, a lot of excellent ideas that can just be progressed in the next game. So it's good in that way, but it does have some limitations at the same time. Now I'm trying to get this area to be a little bulked up, a little bit busier, without, of course, turning it into a jungle. I don't want that. But I do want it to feel like you're on the beach. It's very tropical, very lovely. But then you descend into the depths of the ocean. So, of course, it's a bit difficult to get that that feeling. That balance, I should say. Unlike the swamp, this episode I really am trying to keep the bushes off the path, because the swamp was supposed to represent this wild and untamed area where it's full of bugs and mosquitoes. But this area I really do want to keep the path clear. I don't want it to be too overgrown. I have that habit. It's a bad habit, where I just want to make everything so dense. But if you saw my park tour from June, you'll know that I just did that too much. But I know that what I should do is just be satisfied. Barren areas are not barren. You know, there is grass on the grass texture, just regular grass. But we're too used to seeing the game from, I don't know, 100 feet up in the air, so we think it's empty, it's too empty. But actually, when you get down onto the ground level, it's not. It's perfectly fine. Here we're just decorating the viewing gallery entrance. You just have to keep trying different things. It doesn't have to be the greatest entrance every single time. Like, you don't need to outdo yourself every time. Just try new things. And I think when you look at your park as a whole, you'll be happy for it. Because you could get bored of decorating. You could say, I don't want to keep decorating this every time like this. But if you do a little bit different every time, then at least it'll stay fresh. And I think your park will be better because of it. It is something by the end of this series that even, well, I'm not an expert. I'm not a professional Jurassic World player, so I can't say, oh, even I have that problem. Well, I'm a regular guy, so yeah, I do have that problem. And by the end of this series, I was starting to feel that way, but it's a mental thing. It's not real, you know. It's not how it really is. It's just we make ourselves feel that way when we keep doing the same things over again, or seeing the same things, or seeing the limitations and saying, I can't do anything with this. I can't do anything different. Well, just give it a try. Here we have our seating area. I think this turned out pretty cool. I'm using the Malta viewing gallery here, which is pretty neat. I believe it's a Malta one. And we're gonna put our light here. I try to use these sparingly. You don't want to overdo it. Here's me doing the fence area, or the wall, the Malta walls here. Trying to get it right. And we're going to stop a bit early here. We don't want it to go all the way because, again, we want to try our hand at decorating. Now I do keep this part closed. When I open it, the game lags like crazy. And I don't know if it would get better if I just left it open for half an hour and did something else in the meantime. But within just a few minutes, I've got 5,000 people coming into the park, so the park does get pretty crazy. So here I'm putting in these palm trees, but I don't want to obstruct your view too much from the path, so I want to keep the palm trees more to the sides and make the middle area a much lower plant, a low sitting plant, so that you don't, what would be the word, you don't have an obstructed view, would be maybe a good way to put it. I do like this plant. I love the flowers. The bright ones, the red and pink. They don't pop up too often. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, but I really do like the flowers. So here I have another little area. It's not a plaza, it's different. So I'm going with a different planter here, still vegetation, but now it has a rock in it. Or a bunch of rocks. And we're going to turn this into a dirt area. Well, dirt. There's going to be some plants, but I'm doing this different. No seating. Now I don't want this area to be too overgrown. I don't want people to stand around here and sit. It's not supposed to be that type of thing. Here I'm using these sunshades as a decoration piece. They're pretty cool. Again, like I've said in every episode of the series, I wish you could put a bench directly underneath them, which would make sense, but then again, I don't even think people use the benches when you actually open the park, so it doesn't matter. But it would be cool to have that as a little detail. Now we've gone with this design here. This kind of reminds me of the peace symbol a little bit, doesn't it? And a little redesign of the plants here, going with the palm brushes. Mainly because I don't want people to necessarily go around the outside here. I'd prefer them to just take a straight line across. This area here is not really used for much. It's just for those observation towers mainly. So we're getting to the end of the green area of the lagoon, and we're going to be getting into the rocky area soon. So we'll see what we can do with that. I'm getting rid of those other plants. They're pretty neat, but they were really only here for the raw build to show you what the world looked like before we built the park. So we don't actually need them for decoration. But they are a nice plant. I'm just adding these sunshades here as a bit of extra decoration. I've said in other videos that I do a little bit of extra decoration after I finish the video for you. You know, after I finish recording it, I do that. So I don't want to do that too much. So when I think about it, I'll do a little bit of extra decoration. Here we are going to be decorating the second lagoon. This is the smallest lagoon. So we're adding our undersea coral. I do like that when you get closer to the edges and the sides sort of elevate, the decoration becomes a bit angled. That's pretty cool. This is a pretty small lagoon area, so we actually have two species in here. We have the Ichthyosaurus and the Shonosaurus. Those are our two species for this one. They're actually, I believe, related. The Shonosaurus is just a really big Ichthyosaurus, I think, or something of the sort. They're a little bit different, but I do believe they're related. We're going with some kelp. This is something I do like, is that they have different variants of the kelp. They have super dense kelp, and then they have more less dense kelp. So if you were doing a kelp forest lagoon build, you could do that, where you have super thick in the middle and then you have it getting lighter and lighter as you get closer to the edges of the kelp forest. So here's our first member, our first family member.
Delivery complete.
the Ichthyosaurus. It's lovely. Again, I'm trying different skin variants, so I like bright, I like showy. This looks pretty nice, especially at night. You can still see it very well. But a very elegant dinosaur, or, well, marine reptile. Here we have our next member of the family. And you can see just how much bigger it is.
Delivery complete.
One of the largest known ichthyosaurs to have ever lived, Shonisaurus is a scientist's dream. Years of studying remains filled researchers with a vision. A confident vision, but a vision nonetheless. And now we see it realized before our very eyes, ready to show the world.
So that's a real beauty there. I went with a more muted color variant, but I do like how that yellow is really popping off the chin area. I really love that. So as we continue down the lagoon area, we're adding dinosaurs and decorating. These are the last few palm trees we're going to add because soon palm tree turns into stone. And I don't know, I guess I didn't show it, but I think I got rid of all of the dirt path on the rock earlier. So, I guess I didn't show that part. Here we're doing our rock placement because this is supposed to be the undersea area. We want it to be... Did I? Is that... No, I guess I didn't. There's still dirt there. Anyway, where was I? The rock placement. So because we're under the sea, we instead of trees, we're going to be using rock as our main decoration. I've of course sped up the footage because it'd be very boring to watch me place rocks for 20 minutes. But as I do, I'm going with these tropical rocks because the color really fits with the underlying rock texture. They're a good combination. My style, although I'm sure many people do it, but using the big rocks first, and then smaller and smaller around them to create rock clusters and groups of rocks. At the same time, of course, I could do a lot of rocks, and I'd like to do a lot of rocks, but I also don't want to limit the PlayStation's performance too early in the park build. This is my first, I'd say, major project on the PlayStation 5, so it's also a test experience for me. A lot of rocks, although some people on computer are probably thinking this is a baby amount of rocks. So we are we're going to start to get smaller and smaller rocks. Thankfully, the hitbox on these rocks is very small, so you can really fit them in between your bigger rocks without much difficulty. I don't have to say I need to leave so much space for them in between. Really, what's natural, they can fit inside them pretty easily. Like, I'm not trying to leave any space for these small rocks in between the rocks. But naturally there just is space and they go right in there. Here I forgot to add some medium rocks, so I'm going to do that. Now for the ambiance of the park here, I want it so that there's some illumination in these rocks, but I'm trying to keep these lights away from the path. So they're illuminating the rocks, but you can't really see them very well. They're out of sight. But I don't think they illuminate very well to begin with, so it's more just for you and me. Okay, that looks great. Really, really good. Now we're going to decorate our final 2 enclosures. I think you're really going to like these. I'm adding some shark feeders. I went with this design. I really like it. I don't think any design is really better for what we need it for than this. So this is a cool one. I'm adding a couple in each location just so that the guests can get a good view. I want it to be very visible. Now underneath, this is going to be more of the same, I suppose, of what we've been doing with the rocks and with the coral. Thermal vents, I don't know. Yeah, I go with thermal vents down here because this is closer to the ocean floor, you know. So I do want to emphasize that fact that this is a bit different. Do I go with these ones? Yeah. I don't like these ones too much. I think they're just a little bit too dirty. We can put a boat in. It's just you can't really use too many boats because then you'll think, why is the park losing a boat in every lagoon? Every lagoon has a boat. Well, we don't want that, do we? So even with all this decoration, I just don't really like it. I do wish that we had something better to decorate the bottom here with than just some random coral placements. Now here, what do we got here? An Indominus Rex skeleton. And you know what that means, right? You know what we're gonna put into this lagoon. If you do, then you get 1 like from me. You know, like a Death Stranding style, where I just give you a thumbs up and you get 20 likes. Now I'm using this light here to illuminate the skeleton so that people who are viewing from the viewing gallery, when they come down here, they can see it. I forget if I was smart enough to put it in front of the viewing gallery or not, but yes. I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's right in front of the viewing gallery. That's perfect. I don't think I planned
During
that.
similar ages.
And here's the view here of the shark. Again, I have hunger turned off, but when I was building this particular part, I was sort of sad. I wanted to see them eat, so I do turn it on.
Asset transported.
Let's see, we don't have an introduction for this guy. This is our Attenborosaurus. I really like this. When I was growing up, my favorite marine dinosaur was a Plesiosaurus. I just thought, wow, a long-necked swimming dinosaur, it's so cool. But I don't have one in this park, so this is my only long-necked swimming reptile. But this guy's really cool. He came with it came with the deluxe edition, but I love those teeth, you know, sticking out. So cool. Here we have our Mosasaurus. If you guessed the Mosasaurus, you get 20 likes from me. This guy's big. I thought when they added this to the game, it was so cool.
So when people come to the park, they want to learn something, sure, but they also want to be entertained. And this marine reptile, the Mosasaurus, is just that, a showstopper. If the T-Rex is the ruler of the dinosaurs on land, then the Mosasaurus holds that title below the waves. Make sure this animal is a premium attraction.
There's your Godzilla scene there with the spikes coming out of the water. That's so cool. It's such a beautiful creature. Here's my favorite shot right here. The Mosasaurus and the Attenborosaurus swimming together. That's so cool. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. That's one of the things that just makes this game really good for me. Let's see. Here's a nice shot showing the lights coming on. Beautiful. Here is our third species. This is the Leopleurodon, or Leopleurodon. That's probably better. Leopleurodon. I added this guy because he looks kind of like a crocodile, and I think that's pretty cool. In fact, he basically is a crocodile, but with fins instead of feet. He's a good size. I don't add him into every park, but he's so cool. Here we're moving on to our final lagoon. More decoration. Underwater kelp. I don't know what I'm considering here. I already know, don't put it too close to the edge. Here, we're just putting our coral in. Just slapping it down. I like this coral the best, probably coral number 4, because it's very wide, it covers a lot of area, and it looks pretty natural. I mean, I can't even tell when I put it down, it looks so natural. So sometimes I'm thinking, oh, I should put it there, and I already put it there. Wait, maybe that's not a good thing. And here we have our coral number 3. This looks a bit like the vents we had in the other one. And a boat. Do we put the boat in? That looks really good on the side. Now here's our first resident of the lagoon. This is the Dunkleosteus. How do you pronounce that? Dunkleosteus? Anyway, I have the video on mute, so I'm gonna sound like an idiot when I say it.
Whatever you do not write off the Dunkleosteus as just a big fish. There's no teeth. Just 2 pairs of bony plates. And without warning, they can snap shut with the bite force greater than a wolf, greater than a lion, greater than an Allosaurus. So keep your toes out of these waters, all right?
I love this one, and I got one in red. I did one of each. This is a really cool dinosaur marine species. In Animal Crossing, the New Horizons, is it? I just had to, I love getting that fossil. And what do we have here? The Megalodon. This comes with the park manager pack. I had to buy it. You know, it was on sale with the others, and I said I wouldn't get it. But for you, my faithful viewers.
Now, given my background in the business world, I'm pretty used to dealing with sharks. But let me tell you now, it's a whole world away from the one that Megalodon's from. 'Cause you dare get in the water with this shark? Oh boy, you are not coming out.
I just had to get the pack. The Megalodon is such a cool species. And, well, the park manager pack has some interesting stuff, but mainly it has one really cool flying reptile and one really cool marine species. And that's mainly why I did it. So when I was doing this particular episode of the park, I really wanted to get shots of these guys eating because it's really cool. Here's my other variant I did. Blue, green. It looks like a great white shark, but they added the spots and the stripes. I think it really helps. Well, there you have it. That was a quick episode, wasn't it? Compared to the previous episode, this one is half the time. But we did so much today, and accomplished a great part of the park, which is the lagoon. All my species are happy, and, well, by now I think they're hungry too, because I turned on food eating requirement. I think somebody just ate a shark right there. Yep, they're gonna put up a new shark. So here you can see the view from the visitor hub. When you're drinking your coffee, you can look down and you can see some marine species eating. It's very, very good, I think. But anyways, I'll say thank you very much for joining me on this episode, and I hope you look forward to the next episode, which is going to be sort of similar in a way. It's going to be another one of those these guys live in a small enclosure sort of episode. So if you can guess what that's going to be, you can put it in the comments, but that will be on Sunday. Sunday. So look forward to that, and I will look forward to sharing it with you. So thank you very much, and, well, we'll see you next time.